Hello viewers, welcome to K Diagnostics. Dio here. Today we have a 2012 Chevy Silverado with a 5.3 liter. The customer complaint on this truck is that the steering wheel is really hard when he turns it. Okay, I already confirmed the customer's complaint and I diagnosed it already. I don't think you guys can tell if the steering wheel is hard or not while I'm turning it. So you just have to take my word for it, okay? The steering wheel is really hard, and after looking at it I realized that the power steering pump is defective. So this video is going to be about how to remove and replace a power steering pump on this 2012 Chevy Silverado. Okay, so I also want to point out that if you have the same issue with your truck, after removing the power steering pump you also have to replace the power steering fluid cooler that sits right here in front of the radiator. I'm going to remove this power steering fluid cooler, but I'm not going to film the process of replacing this power steering fluid cooler. But keep in mind, if you replace your pump, you should also replace the cooler. So I will bring you guys over here and then we will remove this power steering pump together. So let's get here under the hood and get this power steering pump replaced. We are here under the hood. Here is the power steering pump. So this big pulley here is the pulley for the power steering pump. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to remove the serpentine belt. So we're going to get the belt off these pulleys. So we are going to do that by prying this tensioner here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but we're going to have to pry it clockwise. I'm just going to get a wrench there and pry it this way. Okay, so once I do that, it's going to get the tension off the belt, and then the belt is going to slip out. Okay, I'm going to try to do this one-handed while I'm also holding the camera. So right there. Now the serpentine belt just comes out. Alright, so I'm gonna get the serpentine belt out of the way. I'm just gonna push it to the side. So now the next step is going to be removing this power steering pulley. Okay, so we have to get this pulley off, and we have to use a power steering pulley puller to pull this pulley out. Okay. Oh, dang. Check that out. Man, I'm glad I was holding the camera. So this, the pulley and the shaft just slid out of the pump. What the heck? No wonder this thing wasn't working. Okay. Well, this is going to be easy to do. I'm just going to take this to the vise and then tap this shaft out of the pulley, you know. Okay, and then the pump is right there. So now that we didn't even need the puller, I'm gonna sit the pulley right here, and I'm going to undo this bolt. So this bolt right here, this 15mm bolt, this one and that one. Once you take these two out, and there's another one here for the bracket in the back, this bolt right here. Once I undo this, the pump should be able to slide out. But before I do all of that, since the pulley just came out by itself, this is strange. I've never seen anything like this before. So this just snapped inside the pump. Okay, I'm gonna show you the tool that I was gonna use. I will show you the tool, and then we're gonna go to the vise to tap that shaft out. Alright, so here is the puller that I was talking about. You use this tool to remove and install the power steering pump pulley. So basically what you do is, this pulley, the shaft just snapped inside the pump. Usually it doesn't come out like this. I guess I just kind of got lucky, but I'm just gonna tap this out. So what you do is you pull out this tool. Okay, it has two jars that you basically put around this pulley, and the pulley's got groove here. that these drawers hook onto. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to sit this piece over here first, and then this one, and then the other one right over here. Let me see if I can do this. Right, so once you sit this there, and then this bolt is going to come right in the center, and then you're going to screw it in. So you start screwing it. You see how it's getting hard? So what that does, it pushes. So basically this it actually goes, this bolt goes against the shaft, and then it's actually pulls the whole pulley out. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That's how you remove this pulley out of the pump. So once you get this off the pump, then the pump can come out, and then after doing that procedure, then you're going to use this other piece here to actually install the pulley. But I will show you that other step to get the new pump installed. Alright, so now let's remove the pump. Alright, so here is the power steering pump. Now we're going to remove this. The first thing I'm going to start with is undoing this power steering line. So I'm going to disconnect this line. So I got to undo this clamp, push it back, and then undo it. So there will be fluid leaking out of it, but I do have a drain container under the truck to catch all the fluid. So now the next step is going to be, there's another line. I don't know if you can see this metal line here. This metal line goes behind the pump. So we're gonna have a better view of this end of the line from underneath. So now what we need to do is we have to remove this other bolt for the rear bracket, and that's a 15. So I'm gonna get a ratchet so we can undo that. Right, so I'm gonna remove this bolt over here. And now I'm going to remove one of the front bolts. So I'm going to undo this one first. Alright, so the front bolt just came out. Actually, what I can do is, instead of going under the truck, I can just remove these two bolts, and let me see if I can slide this pump out with this line on the pump. And then once the pump comes out, then I can undo the line just right up here instead of going under the truck. So now I'm going to undo the second bolt. Then there's a third bolt. Actually, there's one more down over here. So there are 3 bolts up here. There's 2 right here and then another one at the bottom. As you can see, the pump just went down. So now I can lift this up. Alright, so now we're talking. So this is what I was talking about. Here is the pump, and this line right here, this line, this metal line, so I can just undo it up here, because I was gonna go under the truck to undo this line, okay? So I can just undo it up here. There we go. So here comes our power steering pump without a shaft. Okay, so I don't know if you can see right in there, but there's still the other piece of the shaft in the pump. So right here, I guess we did make the right call. The power steering pump is definitely defective. I mean, you saw how that pulley just came out with the shaft. So the shaft just broke on the inside, and so it wasn't even spinning the pump. Okay, so I'm going to take this to the bench. I will show you the replacement part, and then we're going to take this pulley to the vise so we can tap out this shaft. Okay, so let's take these to the bench and swap them out. Here is the power steering pulley with the shaft. So now what we need to do is we have to remove the shaft from the pulley. So I'm just gonna clamp the shaft here on the vise, and then I'm going to use the tool that I was just showing you earlier, and basically what you do is you sit this tool around this groove right here on the pulley, then you put this on. It's right there. Okay, so as you can see, I can't spin this bolt anymore, so now I'm going to tighten it.
But the oil change, how to do oil change, I think I'm good with that.
You're good with how to do the oil change?
Yeah. You gotta lift the tire up and then, lift the car up and then kind of, there's something under, you gotta just screw it up.
Perfect. So here comes the pulley. So I just take the tool out. So here's the pulley. Yay! Hallelujah! It came out. Alright, cool. So this shaft is going to Mr. Trash. Now that we got the pulley removed from the shaft, now what's next? I'm gonna show you the new toy that I got. Alright, so here is the new power steering pump, and this is the part number. I hope you guys can see. That's the part number right there, if you ever needed it. And oh, you gotta love CarQuest. And here's the old power steering pump. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to remove this bracket and install it on the new power steering pump. So let's get this power steering pump out of the box first. Oh, brand spanking new. Alright, so there's an O-ring right here for that high pressure line. So here is our brand new power steering pump. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I am going to remove this bracket and I'm gonna transfer it on the new power steering pump. So this is gonna go right there. Alright, so our new power steering pump is prepped up and ready to go. Alright, so now let's take this pump to the truck so we can install it. Alright, we are back here under the hood. I'm gonna start by removing this O-ring here on the high pressure line. So let's get this O-ring, so you probably won't see it right there. So I'm gonna install the new O-ring that came with the power steering pump. So here it is, and I'm just gonna put it right there on the line. So there it is. Hey, 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 there it is. All right. So now we're gonna install the new power steering pump. Look at it. Doesn't it look nice? So I'm going to install this line out here first. Actually, doing it this way just makes it a lot easier. I mean, even you could go underneath and get it. I mean, there's still enough room down there, but I prefer doing it this way. It's a lot easier. Right, so we got the high pressure line connected back to the back of the pump. So now we are going to install it on its mounting plate. So you just have to pretty much just push it down. Alright, so right there, easy peasy. So what we need to do is we have to line up the holes on the pump and the mounting bracket here. Looks like I got that one started. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other one. Alright, so I got two started. Now I'm gonna get the third one on. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. So I did get this one started. Alright, so I got all these bolts started. So now I'm going to install the back one. So there's another bolt here for the back bracket. So all of them are pretty much installed now. So now I'm going to tighten them. So I'm going to tighten the back first. I mean, you don't have to start by tightening the one in the back. Just preference, guys. Alright, so that's tight. So now I'm going to tighten this one. And then this one over here. And then this one right here. Alright. So the pump is installed. Now what's next? Alright, you got it right. Now the next step is installing the pulley. So now we're going to install the power steering pump pulley. Alright, so here's the pulley. So with the pulley, what you do is you use this tool right here. So basically it is a bolt that's threaded through this little nut here. And once you thread this onto the shaft, and then you're going to tighten this, so which will eventually push the pulley in place without moving the shaft. So this bolt here holds the shaft stationary while you are spinning this to push the pulley inward. Okay, so I'm gonna do that by positioning the pulley here first, and then I'm going to screw this tool in the shaft first. Okay. And now I'm going to start spinning this. Right, so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hold this nut here, this end of the nut, with a wrench, which is a 13mm, and then this bigger one, this bigger nut with the washer here that pushes the pulley in place. I'm gonna spin this with a 21mm wrench. I'm going to hold this with that, and hopefully I can get my hands out of the way as much as possible while I'm doing this. I had to put the vice grip on the pulley just to prevent it from spinning. So the pulley is almost seated all the way. I just have to go a couple turns before we stop. So basically you want the pulley to go just slightly flush with the shaft on the power steering pump. You also don't want to push it all the way in. The way I like to do this is I usually just look at the power steering pump pulley, and I have to make sure it lines up with the harmonic balancer on the crankshaft. So I just have to go just a little bit more. Alright, so it looks like our power steering pump pulley is lined up with the harmonic balancer here, okay? So it's right there on the same line. And usually that's how I like to do it. And once I look at the harmonic balancer, if it's lined up with this, then I'm good. And you can also look at it from the alternator pulley angle. And as I'm looking up here, it also looks lined up with the alternator pulley. Alright, so now I can remove my tool. Just get the tool removed. So another way of doing this is you can just kind of look at the shaft, and the pulley actually has to slightly be flush with the shaft. You guys will probably won't see this because of the space here. It's really tight. I can't show you this, but the pulley is slightly flush with the power steering pump shaft. Alright, with that being said, the next step is going to be installing the serpentine belt. I'm going to install the serpentine belt. So the belt is going to go this way and then down over here. Right, so right there, the serpentine belt is installed. Now the next step is going to be installing this power steering hose. This is the hose that goes to the oil cooler in front of the radiator. So I got that installed. So now I'm going to put the clamp in place. Alright, so I got the last power steering hose connected. So now we're down to the last step. The last step is filling the power steering reservoir with some power steering fluid. Alright, I filled up the power steering reservoir with some power steering fluid. So now we are going to start the truck. So we're gonna start the truck and bleed the power steering system. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the front tires off the ground, and we will leave the power steering reservoir cap off. We're not gonna put the cap yet. So now we're gonna go inside the truck and start it. I'm gonna lift up the truck a little bit and make sure the front tires are off the ground before we start the truck. Alright, so the tires are off the ground. Right there, the tire is spinning. So we're gonna go inside the truck. We're gonna turn the steering wheel just half a turn. We're gonna come back to the center and then half a turn, and then kind of go all the way to the stop, and then we're gonna go to the other side, right? So just do both directions all the way to the stop, and then go to the other side, because you want to do this with no resistance on the tires, okay? Because the vehicle weight shouldn't be on the tires. That's gonna make it easy for the rack and pinion piston to slide in and out, which is gonna purge all the air that's inside the power steering system. So what we're doing right now, we are bleeding the air from the power steering system. Okay, so we're getting the air out of the system right now. Okay, so now let's take it back to the center and let's go under the hood and verify our fluid level. Alright, so right there, as you can see, the truck is running and our fluid level looks just fine. We might add a little bit, but it's nice and subtle. The power steering pump is quiet, it's not making any noises. The fluid inside the reservoir is not foamy, so which is good. I think we got a fix, guys. We did fix this, and I don't see any leaks around the power steering pump, so everything looks good. So I'm going to use the cap, so we can use the dipstick on the cap and see the right level right now. So I'll get the power steering fluid cap so we can measure the amount of fluid that we have inside the power steering pump reservoir. I am using the old oil cap. It has a good dipstick on it. So right there, it's right here on the add mark. I don't know if you guys can see this. So I'm gonna add a little bit of fluid. Alright, so we have enough fluid in the power steering pump reservoir. Alright, so our oil level has been corrected. We got the right amount of oil inside the power steering pump reservoir right now. I looked underneath and around the power steering pump reservoir. There's no leak. Everything looks just fine. So we got it fixed, guys. I'm gonna go inside the truck, turn it off so we can wrap up the video. Alright guys, the engine is off. I'm gonna leave it right here. This is how you remove and replace a power steering pump on a 2012 Chevy Silverado with a 5.3 liter. I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you gotta tell me why. If this is your first time here, subscribe to my YouTube channel, K Diagnostics. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, write them in the comment box. While you are down there, ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.